Good afternoon, people of the land down under, great southern land, people of the world, hello, thanks for watching and sharing. I'll just wait for a couple of people to jump online. It's a beautiful day here, really clear skies, blue clear skies, just a beautiful winter's day down in great southern land. I wanted to do a quick video. Hey John, thanks for joining, mate. I wanted to do a quick video on karma and natural law, and I'm going to keep it short so that people can share it and people will watch this. So karma, it's not a hippie term. It's not a term of a certain group of people. It's an aspect of natural law. And what natural law is cause and effect. Scientifically speaking, it's, you put a pot of water over the stove and you heat it for a certain amount of time and it's going to boil, right? If you apply the right amount of heat. So the cause in that case is the putting the water in the pot and putting it on the flames of the stove, and the effect is the boiling water, which we then drink, right? So how does this relate to current situation? Now, I've just been accosted on a thread where some people were attacking good old chef Pete Evans for some information he shared. And I was simply asking them questions and asking them to prove what they were saying, because they're saying he doesn't have any proof and whatever. And the topic was about vaccines. And my stance on vaccines is really clear. And I've been vaccinated. And my stance on vaccines is really clear. It's having the choice to choose. It's not telling people they can't vaccinate, and it's not telling people they must vaccinate. It is simply the right to choose. And that is an unalienable human right. Yeah, to choose what goes into your body and what does not go into your body, or that of your children. So, and if you are putting it into your children, I highly suggest that you do the research, because, that could be an infringement upon their human rights, yeah? Children have human rights as well. So, anyway, cause and effect, right? This is the karma that will come of this, or that may come of this, is people who are advocating for and supporting mandatory vaccinations, right? Mandatory lockdowns. Let's start with vaccinations. Those who are advocating for mandatory vaccinations may receive karma in the form of vaccine-damaged children if those vaccines are unsafe, because they haven't been tested properly, because the science isn't in, the science can't be in, because Science is ever evolving. Now, these people talk about science and facts as if they exist, and what they're saying is fact and science. Well, science is ever evolving, right? Science is not something that, you can't just written on a piece of paper and someone reads it and then it's scientific evidence. No, science is ever evolving. And it's always changing, because we as a species are evolving, right? So when they talk about it being scientific fact and it's good and it's this and it's that, well, they don't know what they're talking about, because it hasn't been proven. It can't have been proven, because it's still in trial, yeah? And that's why medical practices are called medical practice, because they're continuing to practice, yeah? Because they're trying to get it right. Now, because they're still practicing, that means that they haven't got it right, yeah? So when they talk about scientific this and scientific that, whatever. But the karma of it is that these people who are advocating for forced, mandatory things, whatever it would be, the karma is that they and their children will then be subject to the rules that they are trying to impose on others, right? So these people saying that this should be mandatory and this should be that and this should be this, well, no problem. If you want to volunteer yourself and your children first, be our guest. That's your right. Probably not your right to do it to your children, but You know, people are going to do what they do because they're told. So the karma of it, the cause, the cause and effect of it, the karma, the natural law, the cause and effect, is the cause being the people or some people going, oh, it's got to be mandatory and you've got to do this and you have to do that. And the effect being the after effect of what happens. And remember, once you put something into your body, depending on what it is, you can't take it out. It's there. So even if you're wrong, you or whoever you put it into is going to experience the effect, whether that be disability, death, minor symptoms or nothing, whatever it might be. But the cause and effect, the cause is the screaming for mandatory things and everyone has to do this because, that's what we're being told. And the effect is going to be whatever comes from that, be it negative or positive. So that's how karma works, yeah? If you're out there screaming for mandatory vaccinations or mandatory lockdowns and mandatory martial law, well, you're going to receive those mandatory vaccines and that mandatory martial law. And where does it end? Where does it end when corporations are now allowed to, or supposedly allowed? It's always unlawful. It always has been and it always will be. They can't change the law. The law is the law. Yeah. The law doesn't come from politicians. The law doesn't come from, lawyers. The law is the law, natural law. There's one law. Yeah, it's natural law. So they will experience that which they are perpetuating and creating. And that is the nature of natural law. And that's why we are where we're at. People refuse to educate themselves. They refuse to research their rights. They think that they have a right to tell other people what they can and cannot do, even though it doesn't affect, the one telling them what they can and cannot do. And that's why we're in the situation we're in today, because people believe they have a right to tell other people what to do. Well, actually, most people don't believe that they have a right to tell other people what to do, but they believe they have a right to tell other people that they can tell other people what to do. So they're delegating a power that they don't have in the first place, and they know they don't have, yet they think because they're delegating that power or giving someone else the power to do it, that makes it right. Well, it doesn't. So anyway, that's where we're at. It's just really interesting having these conversations with people, and there's a lot of hate speech, a lot of abuse out there, so these people should be having the police knocking on their doors, all these ones doing all this hate speech and abuse, so anyway, it is what it is. And that's the natural law. The reason we're in the situation we're in today is because people refuse to look at themselves and do their own research on their rights and what are the powers of a parliament. They refuse to read their constitution. They refuse to read their human rights. They refuse to educate themselves on the situation of politics in the country. They refuse politics. They say, I'm not into politics. Well, the truth is, every single person in this country is into politics, whether they like it or not, and whether they know it or not, because they are all affected by it. So everyone is involved in politics, but whether they choose to have an active role or not is a different story. But it affects everybody. So, I guess that's sort of it. Cause and effect. The cause of the situation we're in now is the ignorance of the people. And the effect is that this is going to continue and get worse and worse. And, if it continues, then, you're going to see a lot of people are going to start losing family members, and they're going to start losing any shred of rights that they have left because they're allowing this martial law to continue for no reason. So, And they're all about protecting people's lives. Well, what about the people's lives? What about the people who are committing suicide? What about the domestic violence? What about the people's health degrading because they're not getting any human contact? There's been studies done where babies were dying because they weren't getting human contact. They were put in a place and they weren't allowed any human contact at all, and they were dying. So it's just really interesting where we're at, and karma. It's karma. We've been asleep. We're asleep at the wheel as a nation, as a whole, and we allow politicians to do whatever they want. We allow them to get away with lying through their teeth every time they speak, or majority of times they speak, and people just accept that, and they think that's the way it is, and that's the way, that's just how it is. That's what they do. Well, no, that's not how it is, and that shouldn't be how it is. Because you're paying them a hell of a lot of money to do the right thing by you and your country and your children for your children's future, and not to mention all the men and women who have laid their life down for this country, so anyway, karma is what it is, and people are going to experience it whether they like it or not, regardless of what they believe, regardless of what they feel, regardless of what they think, and regardless of whether they're doing what they're told or not. And there's a time and a place for doing what you're told, and there's a time and a place for not doing what you're told. And and that's it. So I guess people really need to come back to themselves and decide, do I want someone else telling me, what I can and cannot do with my body or my children's body or not, and that's it. A lot of these people are talking about facts and scientific evidence that are coming from organisations who are paid and who are receiving large amounts of money, more than anyone who's out there purporting to know what they're talking about will ever see in their life. And these companies are reaping massive rewards and massive profits from what is going on at the moment. But no one seems to want to look at that or talk about that. But you've got to follow the money when you want to know, who stands to benefit from what's going on. Follow the money. Just follow the money. And if there's a lot of money involved, you can be sure that there's corruption involved. You can be sure that there's lies and deceit involved, and that's sort of it. So thanks for watching, and interesting times we're in, and hopefully people are learning and growing, and that's sort of it. Shandy Burton, how do we escape from it? Shandy, you can't escape karma. And this is the beautiful thing. You can't escape karma. And the situation we're in is the karmic effect, the effect of the cause, that no one gave a shit. No one wanted to learn their constitution. No one wanted to look at politics. No one wanted to do anything. No one wanted to bother taking time out of their day to read or study, or everyone is complacent and happy to hand their power over to somebody else, and that's why we're in the situation we're in today, because that's what we did as a nation, and now we're experiencing the karmic effects of that. So, and the longer we allow it to go on without uniting and coming together and saying no, enough's enough, then we will receive more karma. Fortune favours the brave, and that's true. That's absolutely true. It does not favour those who cower and cringe in their room, and it does not favour those who just blindly submit. So how do we escape it? Well, you can't escape karma. There is no escaping it. There's correcting the path. We can correct the path by coming together and sharing information as we're doing, and standing together, and getting out of our homes and simply saying no, we don't agree. The facts and the statistics that they're even putting out in the media do not stack up to what is actually happening. Nothing makes sense, but we're still allowing it to continue. So how do we escape it? We can't escape it. We can correct it. But it's going to take a lot of people and a lot of courage and a lot of sacrifice, you know. And that's the only way it's going to change. There is no escaping karma. You know. But in order to correct it, people must educate themselves. They must learn their constitution. They must learn their human rights. They must learn, you know, what is going on. They must study. They must put time and effort into it. They must challenge themselves. They must realise who they are and where they come from. You know, they're made from the same things as stars. You know, we're all connected in this cosmos, whether we know it or not, or whether we like it or not. We're not separate. Just because we live on this round Earth, we're still suspended in space, aren't we? You know, we're part of a cosmic life force. That's where our body comes from, all the matter in our body, our water, all of it. We're all connected, but we've got to understand who we are. We've got to educate ourselves. We've got to empower ourselves by learning, by standing up. And, you know, we don't need to be combative about it. Really don't need to be combative, because that's not what Australians are about. That's not what this country's about. You know, we live a peaceful way of life. And the only reason it gets unpeaceful and is when people are trying to tell other people what they can and cannot do against their rights. And that's why we're having the problems we're having now, because people think it's okay to tell other people what they can and cannot do, or to tell others that they can tell other people what they can and cannot do. So, you know, it's a real simple concept. It's, you know, do unto others as you will done to yourself. And even going a step further, because some people don't mind being abused. Some people don't mind having things taken from them. Some people are happy to do that. But another step is, you know, to put it into context, I won't come into your house and tell you what to do, and you don't come into my house and tell me what to do, and we'll all get along just fine, you know. And that's why you see on the media, you see everyone is saying there's people are doing, you know, the police are acting unlawfully and the government's acting unlawfully. Well, the government's a corporation, and all they're doing, they're simply offering a service or a product, or, you know, albeit that they are coming across as they have authority to tell you that you must do it. When you actually listen to them and read what they're writing in the media and whatever, you actually hear them and they say, we're asking you, please do this, please do that. We're asking everyone to do this. It's because they know they don't have a right to tell you what you can and cannot do, but they can ask you, right? And because most people are part of their corporation, yeah, if you break the rules, then they're going to give you a fine. Yeah, well, whatever. It's a monetary fine. Who cares? You go and argue it in court. Yeah, whatever. But they're not breaking the law by asking people to do things. They're well inside their right to ask people to do things. It is how the people perceive the information that they're receiving that is the issue. People are perceiving their questions and their requests as orders and laws, but they're not. They can't be, because they infringe on human rights. So they're not breaking any laws by offering people services and products and making rules within their own company. They're not breaking any laws by doing that. And as for the police, well, you know, I've seen some really good videos of some really good police officers doing some really good work. And I call them police officers because they were acting under their common law oaths. Yep. They didn't step outside their common law oaths. So therefore they are acting as police officers. Now, some of them, when they're acting under private acts of parliament and private statutes and the like, and things without royal assent, then they're acting as public officers or foreign public officials. Yep. Now that's a completely different story. If they start enforcing that on people, then they're not acting as police officers. They're personating a police officer, right, which is a crime in itself. Yep, in order to receive a pecuniary benefit for themselves or someone else when they're issuing fines, right? And that's also a Commonwealth offence. But when they're acting under their common law oath, I saw a video the other day, they were called to a McDonald's and the man was having a discussion with them, and they stood under their common law oath. You know, they got called because someone was trespassing or whatever they were doing. They weren't following the company policy, and they had the right to go there and question under their common law oath. Yep, because it's a trespass. So they didn't break any laws. They didn't harass the man. They had a conversation with him, and they were within honour and within their oath. And it was really good to see. And I've had some experiences with the police myself in recent times of the same sort of thing. So it's not all police are doing the wrong thing. Those who are enforcing private acts of parliament and these policies that are being offered to the people, when they start enforcing those with force, you know, they're using force to overthrow the Constitution, which is treachery. You know, that's 25 years in prison. That's constitutionally. And then you look at because they're acting for a foreign private company at that stage, they then come under the criminal code, you know, and they're harassing civilians. So but are those civilians part of their company? You know, and that's another question, of which they don't know until you give them ID. So that's why you just don't give them anything. You just ask them to act under their common law oath and then invoke your right to silence and allow them to do whatever they're going to do. You know, and if they do something wrong, then you have a right to remedy. But yeah, I'm watching what's going on, and they're not, in my opinion, besides the fact that they're there, which is false advertising, pretending to be a government, they are a corporation. They have the right to offer products and services, and people have a right to accept them. And this is where karma comes into it as well. People who wish to be part of that corporation and people who wish to accept those offers, you know, that's why they always ask, they say, we're asking you to do this, please do that, you know, because they're asking. But once you start contracting with them and then failing to fulfill the contract, that's another story. So it's, I guess the deeper questions would be reserved to a jury panel, really, in fact. You know, no one has the right to make an arbitrary decision until it's gone to a jury trial. But from what I'm seeing, you've got a corporation offering services and or many corporations offering services and products, and people either accept them or don't. But they can't be forced on the people. Yeah, those are war crimes. To force anything upon a civilian population or the natural inhabitants in wartime, which is what we're in. We're in wartime. We're under martial law, and we have a foreign, you know, organisation that is armed when they're operating under private acts of parliament. You know, we're in wartime. Whether we recognise it or not, or know it or not, is irrelevant. That's where we're at, lawfully speaking. So, you know, it's just interesting times. But the karma is that the people who are screaming for all this stuff to be enforced are going to receive it. Well, not all of them, because, you know, half of them are trolls and half of them won't get it. But those who are screaming for it and those who want it will get it. And what comes of that will be the effect of the cause that they're creating. And that's simple natural law. That is karma. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not here, it's not there, it's neither. It's people having their right to choose what they're going to do and doing it, you know. And if people choose to, you know, do certain things, then that's their right, and whatever comes of that is their problem or their benefit, whatever it might be. So that's kind of where we're at the moment, and I just wanted to share that. It's getting a bit fresh. Interesting, Richard. John says JFK Jr. won his court case. Look it up. Thanks, John. Richard says you never know, the flu may return. Then we will see an escalation in death numbers. Yeah, I wonder whatever happened to the flu and the cold that was around for the last however many centuries. It's just disappeared all of a sudden. That's really interesting. Richard, the Dobbers will be first to board the Karma bus. The funny thing is that the nurses, the teachers, the military, the police, they're all going to be the first ones to get these vaccinations, right? And there's no reason why some of the vaccinations, you know, because they create them in different batches, there's no reason why some of them could be placebos or have no effect, and some of them could have other stuff in them. So people have got to be aware that, you know, because they control the distribution of these things and they know where they're going to go, so they may be able to put certain things in some and certain things not in others, you know. So depending on where they're going to be distributed, obviously will depend on what goes in them. And I suppose that's how it sort of happens. But yeah, anyway. Shandy says the scary part is there's only a small amount of people. Well, there's only a small amount of people who want to force it upon you. And not everyone... Yeah, so Shandy was saying there's only a small amount of people who want to do something about it. You know, there's only a small amount of people who want to force things on other people as well. So you've got a small amount of people who will do something about it, and a small amount of people who will force it upon other people. And there's some people in between that are impartial, meaning that they respect other people's right to choose, and they're not going to force it, you know, in all walks of life, in all businesses, in all industries, you know, even in government. So it's not simply a matter of a small amount of people who want to do something about it. But there's only a small amount of people who actually think it's okay to force these things on other people. So, you know, I mean, self-defense has always been a right of every single living. There we go, we're back on. Yeah, so I mean, everyone has a right to self-defense and the right to stand up for the law. You know, because the law is the law and it can't be changed. That's why these things can't be forced on people. If they are attempted to be forced, then that would be breaking the law. And that would mean that everybody has the right to defend against that, to self-defense. And that is an unalienable right. That can't be taken away, nor can it be given. Yeah, because everyone has the right to defend their body, defend their kingdom. And that's sort of it. We don't want chaos, we don't want war, we don't want violence. All we want is people to respect other people's right to choose. It's really simple. And when people stop trying to force things on other people, there'll be no problem. If people try to force things onto other people, there'll be a problem. And whoever's, let's get this straight, whoever is forcing this on other people, they are in the wrong. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're forcing something on another person against their will, you're in the wrong. Period. Yep. And that's it. So, you know, this goes deeper than simply what's happening now. This, again, I talk about the spiritual aspect, and this is a... All right, we're back on. There's a helicopter flying up over there, circling over there. But when we talk about the spiritual aspect of things, you know, it really is a battle between dark and light. And the whole point of the darkness is to trap people's soul. And when people understand and get a grasp of the fact that we do have a soul, which is eternal, it lives forever, right? We have a dark side, we have a light side, as is nature. Yeah, you have polarities. Just look at a magnet, you've got north and south, whatever. And there's the polarities of life. But because it's a battle between dark and light, it's about containing people's souls, right? Through fear. Fear is the number one thing that they feed on, that this energy feeds on. It feeds on people's fear, right? The more people that are in fear, yeah, the more people can be controlled. And that is the whole purpose. Keep people in fear. Right? So as soon as we let go of that fear, we let go of fear of everything. That includes death. As soon as we let go of that fear, we are free. Right? We're free. You let go of fear of death, and nothing can touch you. Even if your body shall return back to rest to the earth, nothing can touch you because your soul is free. This is a play to trap people's souls. This is an eternal battle. This isn't just about me and you and, you know, we've got, they're doing this and they're doing that. This is an eternal battle that's been going on since the dawn of time. It's not even a battle. It's just a to and fro. It's cycles. It's just natural cycles, you know. That's the way life is. It's cyclical. Yep. You just look at the seasons, look at day and night, look at, you know, that's how it is. Look at the planets, look at the moon. It's all cyclical. So we're going into a period of light at the moment, and the dark is trying to grab onto as much as it can, because darkness doesn't want to be alone. Darkness is living in fear. It is an absolute state of living in fear. And that is what it is, because they're afraid of being alone. This is why people in fear feel they need to bring everyone else along with them. They feel they need to, if I'm doing it, you've got to do it, because I'm scared that what I'm doing is wrong. But if something happens to me and if it happens to everyone else, then I won't be so scared, right? That's why when we're in fear, we want to be around others. We want to, you know, have this and have that around, and have people tell us it's okay. And, you know, that's why people in fear are always trying to bring other people along on the fear train with them, because they are scared, right? And that is not just a physical thing, that is a spiritual thing, that is in your soul. Yeah. So when you look at, if you basically close your eyes and imagine that there's, in one side it's light, pure light, and the other side is pure dark. Well, at the moment, the dark side, the dark light, is trying to take as many souls as it can, because it's scared. It is afraid of where it's going. It is afraid. Yeah? Fear. So everyone else has got to come with me because I'm scared, and if we all go together, well, it'll be less, you know, bad or whatever. Well, that's not the case, because when you pass over and you go into that darkness, or wherever these people are going to go, there will be no one else around. It doesn't matter how many people they get to go with them in this life. They're going to be all on their own. You are in your own cycle of fear, and there will be nothing. No one you can take with you. So I guess the point is, stay out of fear. Yep. When you stop fearing death, when you stop fearing the afterlife, life is just life after life. That all death is life after life, yeah? And that's eternal, that goes forever. So that's pretty important. That's more important than the possible 100 years that people might have on this earth. That is eternal. Yep. So I guess that's about it. I'm going to probably cut it off there. It's going for a bit longer than I thought it would. And thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for sharing. Please share. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please share, and take care. Release fear. Release fear. You'll be amazed at what happens when you stop fearing death and stop fearing threats, and you stop fearing, well, this could happen and that could happen. And I'll tell you, I've been through these threats and fear for years now. Years and years I've been experiencing this, you know. And there comes a point where you go, well, you know what? I'm still here. I'm still standing here. Even though you've tried however many times, you keep trying and trying and trying and trying. And all it does is it feeds me and it helps me grow. Yeah, because I don't buy into the fear. If I bought into fear and stopped doing what I was doing, you know, I would never have left my house from the time I was a child, you know, because there's fear about everything. So anyway, that's about it. Stay out of fear. Stay in light. Do not fear anything. Release the fear. Stand in your power and just do what's right. Yeah. And you know, God blesses those who bless themselves. You know, fortune favours the brave. Fortune favours the brave. And because the brave, you know, because it is a battle of dark and light, and it is time for the light to shine, the light can't lose. It's an impossibility. It's just a matter of time. And time is, well, doesn't really exist, does it? I mean, in this world it does, but out there it doesn't. That's why everything's eternal, because there's no time. Time is only gauged by matter. Time is only gauged by the growing of the body, day and the night. Without matter, there's no time, right? Because there's no way to measure time. So when we pass over, it is eternal, forever. So you want to have stuff squared away, you want to be spiritually correct, and you want to have your soul aligned with the truth and what is right before your time comes to go. Yeah, so that's probably one of the biggest things to focus on is yourself and your soul, and making sure you're aligned with the highest good, which is life. Life is the highest good, and everything after that is just an afterthought, you know. So thanks for watching. It's a beautiful day here, and play the chimes. Hey Melanie, yeah, please share. Have a good day. We'll talk soon.